cinema, video games, hamburger. Today we're here to celebrate absolutely none of those things. Because tonight we're gathered here to appreciate the real stars behind all of your favorite works of art. The CEOs and shareholders that work tirelessly to find new and innovative lows to reach every single day. Like with the endless amount of streaming services, questionably legal hidden fees, and entirely unregulated copyright law that lets big companies claim ownership of things they didn't even make in the first place. Hello again, everyone. I'm, of course, Tony Oscar, and if you're only just joining us now, then you've made it just in time for the final award of the night, where, of course, we crown 2026's most shamelessly greedy company award. There's so many incredible multi-billion-dollar conglomerates to honor here tonight, but only one of them has the privilege of being selected for this incredibly petty award. Starting off our nominations for the night, I thought we should look to the games industry and all of the people behind it that through tireless work and creativity were able to bring some of the most acclaimed games to life. That's why every single one of them was laid off so they could be replaced with the latest innovations in technology, like saving $15 on the art for achievements in Call of Duty by using AI. And using AI to have Fortnite Darth Vader make his way through every slur in the English dictionary.
Skibidi toilets.
But you know, between like 2K games copy-pasting the exact same game 20 years in a row with the only changes being made to the number on the box and on the store page, and studios like Ubisoft and Blizzard leading the charge on setting women's rights back by about 15 years. And then, of course, we have a two-time winner of the Most Hated Company in America award and recipient of the Most Hated Reddit comment of all time, EA. Regularly avoided for all of their invaluable contributions to the gaming industry, like turning all their sports games into slot machines, turning all their Star Wars games into slot machines, and for being the entire reason that even 13-year-old me, who regularly wasted his life on shit like Talking Tom and Ben News, still wouldn't touch Plants vs. Zombies 2, because they also turned it into a slot machine. But I think this year they've all been dethroned by the hardworking talents of Sony, who have made it their life's mission to make sure that you never actually own a single thing in your entire life, by making games that you already bought entirely unplayable as soon as they can't be bothered running the servers anymore, and deciding that they've had enough of bearing the cost of the 15 cents per disc it cost them to make a physical game, and more importantly, the $15 that you paid Craig for a used copy of GTA 5 on Facebook Marketplace. And they know they don't even have to defend themselves because they have like half of Reddit doing it for them. And inspiring others like the famously selfless Rockstar, who despite being as aware as anyone that GTA 6 is going to make the most money out of anything ever made, is not only going to cost a record high $80 to play it, and then locking half of the features out of the game anyway so they can charge people another $100 to play the real version, still isn't going to come with a disc. Craig on Facebook Marketplace is having the worst day of his life right now. Which wouldn't be that big of a deal if literally like 4 days before we found this out, they hadn't just purged over 500 movies from people's accounts that they already bought because their licensing expired, and now they're making that your problem. Are they going to refund people? No. I know, right? Now, I don't know about you, but I think it's pretty cool that we live in a world that has like so many different subscription services to choose from. I mean, what would we do without BMW charging you $18 a month to have access to heated seats that are already in the car, but disabled unless you pay them? Or Mercedes charging you a subscription to use CarPlay, even though my car, which honestly can barely be considered road legal, can do it for free. I mean, no wonder these guys don't use their turn signals if they gotta pay $12.99 a month to do it. Bazinga. I mean, I gotta shout out Ticketmaster for charging you more in fees than the actual cost of the ticket between the processing fee and tax and the service fee, because they, you know, because of all the service they're providing on an automated website with zero human involvement, and the facility charge that you have to pay for because, you know, because, and then of course, you know, their method to deal with the rampant issue of ticket scalping, which was to do absolutely fucking nothing, because that way they can collect the service fees twice. I mean, that's like the kind of greed that you can only get from my dog. And then you have Airbnb, who charge you a cleaning fee, and then still make you clean it up anyway. And then, of course, we have our beloved Uber Eats, who went above and beyond by enlisting the help of Gordon Ramsay himself to assemble all of your orders with the way they're charging me fucking $12 for a Happy Meal, for providing people with the invaluable service of a private limo for their chicken nuggets. And have somehow, like, come up with a system that connects restaurants customers, and delivery drivers, and then scams the absolute shit out of all three of them. And for anyone watching that's from the US, where you use like DoorDash and Grubhub way more, I'm just saying over here in Australia, I'm pretty sure like 90% of the population would rather spend $47 on a burger from Uber than ever cook a single meal in their entire life. I found out recently that the Uber Eats app is literally like a pay-to-win system where like the more money that you give them from each sale, the more likely you are to show up on the app. Because they take, at minimum, a 15 to 30% cut from every single order for the privilege of being on their app despite doing none of the work. And I didn't even know this. Like, I just assumed that the things that came up first on the app were things that were, like, close to me or at least well-reviewed. But no. But, like, they know that these restaurants are going to pay for it because of how hard it is for people to go and get food themselves, you know? You got to, like, put pants on, and then you got to drive, like, 5 minutes. I mean, come on. And then you have the drivers who also have half of their earnings stolen by Uber, but know that if they try and turn any of them down because they want to get paid, you know, more than $1 for driving for half an hour, then they'll just give it to someone else who will, and then offer you less work in the future. The same people that they're just trying to replace with robots anyway. Or making it maybe the only app that might have more fees than Ticketmaster, with the service fee, tax, local operating fee, delivery fee, adjustment, long range fee, small order busy area fee, priority fee, that literally doesn't do anything. Why is the service fee different to the delivery fee? Is that not the, I thought that was the service. Oh, you still want a tip though, right? But I don't think any of them are as deserving of a nomination than Adobe, a company that's so evil that I feel more unethical paying for it than I would if I pirated it. I mean, just look at their CEO, bro. They're not even being subtle about it. And, like, I don't think anyone has been able to replicate how impressive it is that they were able to put out, like, one of the most revolutionary suites of apps that changed the entire industry, you know? Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, and the other ones. And then gradually making all of them so expensive and hard to run that nobody wants to use them anymore. And then the way that these guys keep their customers loyal is by charging anyone that tries canceling their subscription with the entire national debt of Greece. Like, you may have signed up to a monthly subscription, but that was actually for the year. So if you try and cancel, you still have to pay the rest of that. We just forgot to tell you about it. And have such a good working relationship with their user base that definitely doesn't panic every time they put out a new update, just in case they're secretly using your work to train AI, which then slows down the product you're using even more somehow. So I must be Spider-Man 3 because I'm good, actually. I mean, what other company is so evil that the actual US government had to step in, like Frieza teaming up with Goku to fight Jiren, and sue them for $150 million for hiding fees? A huge victory for customers where Adobe's subscription model hasn't changed at all, but they do have to put tiny little text warning you about it now. So, got him. But look, you don't have to be an Adobe customer to have had something like this happen to you, you know? I mean, I'm sure there's been a point in your life where you've been grocery shopping and you notice that all of a sudden that Pringles has diversified into a company that also sells you air. And, you know, while everything is getting smaller and worse all of the time, at least the Big Mac is still out here repping guys like us by calling itself big even though it's only about 4 inches long. But then, on the other hand, they're the sole reason that copyright law takes 100 years to expire, and creators of all of the live-action remakes of your favorite movies. Give it up, everybody, for Disney, who are, like, so aware that they spent the last 50 years creating some of the most beloved movies of all time, and will now spend the next 50 exploiting the shit out of that as much as possible. Like, for example, their blatantly shameless Disney Vault technique they had back in the day, right? Where, like, for example, you know, let's say you're a normal company that, like, puts out a movie you made onto home video so people can, like, you know, buy and watch it whenever they want. But Disney used to have the strategy where they'd only re-release their movies for a super short window, like once every decade or so they could bombard you with ads about how you'd have to buy it literally right now before they burn every copy of it for the remainder of your lifetime.
After March 31st, Disney will stop selling this timeless classic. Hurry, this Easter is your last chance to add Bambi to your collection before it disappears for years to come.
And then they've also somehow convinced the entire American population that Disneyland is like a human right. I mean, how could you miss out on the $10 Mickey Mouse pretzel and the 15-hour wait times for every ride? And that's why over half the people that go are willing to put themselves into debt to do it. But they're also like a company that's so dedicated to micromanaging its IPs that they were totally cool with taking Spider-Man off of the grave of a dead child, and more importantly, shut down all of the Club Penguin fan servers after the game went down, and ending my passionate affair with my first love, Pink Girl 6657. But then also, like, invested billions into an AI company. So anyone can make as much shitty AI slop of their IP as they want. I mean, they've canceled it now, but, like, they were totally gonna do that. And, like, I think the only one who can challenge their dedication to not letting anyone have any fun is the Ellen of video game companies, Nintendo. Truly beloved by millions for being so dedicated to protecting their family-friendly image that they're the sole reason the entire population of Italy is too scared to name their children Mario or Luigi so they don't get a cease and desist letter instead of a birth certificate. I mean, who could forget the iconic Nintendo Partner Program, where in a world where even companies as evil as Microsoft wouldn't stoop to the level of beefing with YouTube Let's Players, Nintendo was just that guy. To make sure they got all of the 45 cents of ad revenue from part 2 of your Hotel Mario gameplay. Where you're still more likely to see someone successfully release a Pokemon fan game than you are ever see a Nintendo game go on sale. And look, while they might not have the money to make any Pokemon game more graphically advanced than the PS1, what they do have is an unwavering mission to taking down massive threats to their bottom line, like this grocery store called Super Mario, YouTube videos, and charity events that were playing their games. And most importantly, Bowser's penis. But look, okay, in their defense, both of these guys did have pretty good reasons for some of these, alright? Like, was that supermarket also selling bootleg Nintendo merch? Yes. Were the Club Penguin fan servers completely unregulated and populated by people who definitely need to be in jail? Also, yes. And did some guy in the Nintendo office definitely just get caught looking at Bowser porn and then had to double down on it being a work thing? Probably. But nothing will ever come close to the time that someone died from an allergic reaction at one of the restaurants in Disney Springs, and they argued that their right to sue was voided because their partner had signed up for a trial of Disney Plus one time. What? Yeah. But, I mean, like, can you blame them, dude? That would have meant they would have had to pay, like, $50,000 to the grieving family of someone who died. And that was, like, you know, the entire box office of the new Moana remake. Not liable for your death. So, now that we've looked at our nominees, it's finally time for the moment you've been waiting for. Out of all of the nominees, the award for the greediest company of all time goes to... Bruh. Hi. I'm wearing a shirt that has horses on it. And before we award the winner for tonight, I have to talk about something that no one on YouTube has ever complained about before. And I'm really sorry to do this. The copyright system. Oh god, no. Cut the feed. Cut the feed right now. Recently I dropped a video that critics were calling like the greatest 15-minute background noise they've ever had while taking a shit in their life. Which, you know, if I'm being honest, was like one of the hardest videos I've ever had to make. Both because I just couldn't figure out how to get it right, and also because I had to watch Family Guy. And after weeks of staying up late editing on a barely functional Adobe Premiere, all that hard work paid off when I woke the next morning to a copyright claim from multi-billion-dollar conglomerate Warner Brothers for using less than a minute of Riverdale footage. And of course, you know, they could have claimed it when it was sitting there for 3 whole days before it went public. But no, of course, they picked the moment it's too late for me to do anything about it. And you know, I wonder why that is. Luckily, though, I was always taught to not be, like, petty and spiteful, which is why, like, I don't want to make a big deal out of it, you know? Like, I don't think, like, I would never do that. And then immediately below that email, another claim from Paramount for another video for using less than 30 seconds of footage from Sonic 3, including this clip, which is not even from Sonic 3. And then after that, I got another claim, and then another one, and another one. And another one. And like some of these videos are like 8 years old. Like Paramount had absolutely no beef with top 15 scariest moments in Transformers until 8 years later. And now they're trying to rob the world of one of the greatest videos on YouTube.
To celebrate everyone's favorite spooky month, I thought we should take a look at the scary side of Transformers.
Can you please turn it off before he starts explaining how copyright law works? So to explain how this works, to those of you who haven't had the pleasure of listening to a YouTuber complain about how hard their job is, I think everyone knows by now that trying to fight a copyright claim is one of the riskiest things a YouTuber can do other than go near a school, which the guys making these claims are perfectly aware of and know that you probably aren't going to take that risk, so they can just like do whatever they want. Which is why every single time they'll reject your first dispute, but then magically change their mind on the second one as soon as they would have actually been held legally accountable. That's crazy. The company making the claim, of course, risks and loses absolutely nothing, which is so cool. Take the shot. Take the shot right now. And I just think what really drives me insane about these claims is we're talking about like one of the biggest movie studios in the entire world. Like, do they really need that money? And after doing a bit of research, it turns out, yes, actually. They actually do.
Warner Brothers Discovery announced today that it is putting itself up for sale.
And so that's why for our highest honor of the night, the award goes to Warner Brothers. The studio that shows their passion and dedication to the art of film by deleting entire movies because it saves them a bit of money on their taxes, and deleting shows from their streaming services so they don't have to pay anyone that made them because it saves them a bit of money on their taxes. But of course, they couldn't just be satisfied with being one of the biggest movie studios of all time. They had to get bigger. They had to get more money. The line must go up. So they just had to merge with Discovery and absorb a tiny bit of their debt of $27 billion. And so they had to make some pretty tough lifestyle changes with a lot of layoffs and cancellations and dropping their CEO's yearly pay from $51 million to $200 million a year, and ended up losing so much money every year that the only thing that could save them was an even greedier studio, Paramount Pictures. You see where this is going, right? Who are fusing together like Gogeta if his special technique was being the most unemployed person of all time. And like, you know, right now that deal is like still ongoing, but it would mean that like one of the biggest movie studios would like own and control like a third of every movie ever. And it pretty much benefits everybody, you know, because with less competition, that means the prices are going to go up and the quality is going to go down and like tons of people are going to lose their jobs. But it's fine because that Justice League Transformers crossover is going to go crazy, bro. But wait, how is Paramount buying another studio if they themselves are also billions of dollars in debt? Honestly, who cares anymore? And that's when I realized why they were doing this. Because they both literally don't have any money. All right, they actually did need that 15 cents in ad revenue. So, you know what? Now when I look at this, I don't see it as a greedy company trying to hoard even more of its disgusting amount of wealth. Now I see it as like doing charity work for those in need. So yeah, you know, thanks for watching and we'll see you next year. So you are under arrest for hijacking one of our most prestigious award shows. You'll never take me alive. He's got a gun! Okay, I think we got him, guys. You can stop shooting now.